Just as sure as the sun rising in the east and setting in the west, an NBA legend went on the record saying his all-time team would beat the Warriors.
This time, Shaquille O'Neal doubled down on his assessment that his 2000s Los Angeles Lakers would beat the Golden State's dynasty of the previous decade. He said on the Frank Caliendo cast that he would have laid Steph Curry's little A out a couple of times if the two-time MVP tried to drive the lane.
Shaq's Lakers are the last team in NBA history to three-peat, and Curry's Warriors would have had a better chance at following in the Lakers' footsteps if not for injuries to Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson and DeMarcus Cousins.
The teams played in the same century, but in vastly different eras, making it extremely difficult at best, and pointlessly pining for glory days at worst, to compare how one would do against the other.
But let's indulge the big Aristotle. What would happen if his Lakers played Curry's dynastic Warriors?
NBC Sports Bay Area's Josh Schrock answered that question with a thoughtful piece of analysis, but I think it would go a little something like this. Hit it.
Related, is Warriors landing Giannis worth price of losing Klay?
Yo guys, check it out. Guess what happened to Shaq?
Another dig at the Warriors? Come on, that's whack.
He was on a podcast, dishing hot takes. Working on his craft.
Yeah, it made the rounds fast.
Today's fans are screaming, he's thinking, that's for me. But a team is in his head, living rent-free.
It is the Warriors. What would they say?
How about some 5-on-5, you wanna play?
Shaq tells them why not, he has some time. But when he beats them real bad, try not to cry.
Please, Marcus, are you for real? 5-on-5 with Shaquille O'Neal?
Yeah, him and all the 2000s Lakers.
The Dubs would be nervous. They knew they could take him.
Dubs versus Shaq, psyche him out. They'd say, O'Neal, you're in our house now.
Start the game, the whistle blows. Pay attention close, 'cause the story goes.
It's like boom, boom. They put it in the hoop like slam, slam. You hear the crowd screaming out jam, jam.
I swear that I'm telling you the facts.
That's how they beat Shaq.
Run & Play's podcast, listen to the latest episode.
Of all the top prospects in the upcoming 2020 NBA draft, arguably no one currently has as much upward momentum as USC big man Onyeka Okongwu. He didn't get nearly as much attention as some of the other top names throughout his lone collegiate season, but recently that has begun to change.
The Warriors reportedly have him ranked above James Wiseman, and they're not the only ones. The Athletic's John Hollinger recently released his top 20 players in the draft, and Okongwu is his top-ranked big man and number 4 overall prospect. Beyond that, he believes Okongwu and Golden State would be a great match.
Okongwu was awesome as a freshman, and the only reason I don't have him higher is that today's game doesn't value bigs as much, Hollinger wrote. He still might be undervalued here. Relative to his position, he's arguably the best player in this draft, and in particular would seem to be an outstanding fit with the Golden State Warriors.
Interesting.
The Warriors are all but certain to have a top 5 pick in the draft, meaning Okongwu theoretically would be available to them at their selection. Even if it's the number 1 overall pick, Okongwu might be the right choice.
Run & Play's podcast, listen to the latest episode.
Why? Based on statistical comparisons, he is quite similar to multiple recent number 1 picks.
As a freshman at USC, Okongwu led the Pac-12 in per 31.1 and shot 72.2% from the free throw line. Since 2011-12, only 4 other major conference NCAA freshmen posted a per above 30 while shooting at least 70% from the charity stripe. They were Anthony Davis, Cody Zeller, Karl Anthony Towns and DeAndre Ayton.
That's some exclusive company. Davis, Towns and Ayton all went first overall in their respective drafts, while Zeller went fourth in his. If Okongwu ends up like any of them, whichever team selects him won't regret it.
While Okongwu's ceiling probably profiles closer to that of Ayton's than Towns or Davis's, that would still be a hell of an outcome with a lottery pick in a weak draft, Hollinger argued. As with a player he's frequently compared to, Miami's Bam Adebayo, his height may be held against him at 6'9". Unlike Adebayo, however, Okongwu shows enough promise as a shooter that he may be able to play next to a true 5 as his skill level progresses. He's already a better post scorer than Bam, but he doesn't have his ball handling and passing skill. Adebayo was just named a first-time All-Star in his third NBA season, but in terms of their collegiate production, Okongwu was more statistically impressive across the board.
Are you sensing the trend here?
Related report, Warriors didn't acquire Wiggins just to trade him.
Okongwu shot 61.6% from the field as a freshman and ranked second in the Pac-12 with an average of 2.7 blocks per game. He offers position versatility, and won't turn 20 years old until December.
There's plenty of risk involved with all of the top prospects in the draft, but Okongwu might be the safest bet to live up to expectations.
When it comes to the Warriors and the NBA, so much is up in the air.
It's extremely difficult to make plans for the future when you don't know when the 2020 NBA Draft Lottery and 2020 NBA Draft will take place, or what the 2020-21 salary cap and luxury tax line will be.
But as Anthony Slater of The Athletic writes, the Warriors have a plan in place for Andrew Wiggins.
Ask anyone in the organization, during their private or public moments, they got Wiggins with the expectation that he'll be their starting small forward next season, not just a matching contract to flip, like they did with D'Angelo Russell.
Since the moment Golden State acquired Wiggins from the Minnesota Timberwolves in exchange for D'Lo, practically everybody affiliated with the franchise has discussed Wiggins' positional fit.
The Warriors needed to add some length and athleticism on the wing, and Wiggins checks both those boxes. The Dubs are confident the 25-year-old will thrive alongside Steph Curry, Klay Thompson and Draymond Green. But
as we all know, the NBA is a business. There are very few players who completely are off limits in a trade.
Run and Plays podcast, listen to the latest episode.
Even Draymond Green, a franchise icon who begins a 4-year contract extension next season, knows he could be shipped out of town.
This is F. King Kevin Durant we're talking about. Yeah, I've done great things here. But let me tell you this, if Kevin really wanted to be here, all he would have done is went to Bob and said, yeah, I'll stay. But Draymond gotta go, he explained on the All the Smoke podcast last month. And guess what, General Manager, Bob Myers would have called me and said, Draymond, I love you, and I won't trade you to a bad team, but where do you want to go?
Related, is Warriors landing Giannis worth price of losing Klay?
Before the NBA season was suspended because of the coronavirus pandemic, Wiggins averaged 19.4 points, 4.6 rebounds, 3.6 assists, 1.4 blocks and 1.3 steals over 12 games with the Dubs. He shot nearly 46% overall and 34% from deep.
The number 1 overall pick in the 2014 NBA draft should flourish for as long as he is wearing a Warriors uniform.
Follow @DrewSchiller on Twitter and Instagram.